Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we are talking all about those teeny tiny little kitchens, because every time we talk about kitchens on a video, you all say, but Garrett, what about the small ones? Always remember that no matter the size of your kitchen, you can choose any style you want it to be and any material you want. So with that said, we've got some things to talk about, so let's get into the video. Now, the first thing we have to talk about is what it takes to make a small kitchen functional. And in my opinion, that's not about the design or the cabinet profile or even the countertop material you choose. You'll make those decisions yourself. We're talking about updates that don't require you gutting and renovating your kitchen. So one of the great ways to make a small kitchen more functional is to add more storage. And one of my favorite places to add storage in a small space, similarly to a bathroom, is in-wall storage, recessed storage. This would be like a medicine cabinet. You can add shelving in between the studs of your wall that's recessed into the drywall. That's a really good way to take advantage of space you already have there that is just completely unusable. It's always important to remember that you do not know what's behind the drywall, so I always recommend having this done professionally, but you can add in things like medicine cabinets without mirrors, the little door, or even open shelves into the studs of your wall to add more storage into that space. You could do it in a backsplash, or sometimes you can find these shelving units that are really big and could go on a big empty wall you have in your kitchen. Because some kitchens actually have a good amount of floor space, but they're just really small in terms of the cabinetry they have in the actual workspace. So anything you can get out of that cabinetry and off the countertop and into another space is a great way to improve the functionality of a small kitchen without compromising on the things you need. That actually reminds me that you might have a kitchen that doesn't have a lot of cabinetry or countertop space. You may have a space in your kitchen that's completely wasted and it's not big enough for you to have installed cabinetry there, or it just doesn't make sense because it would impede a doorway. Consider adding some piece of furniture that brings more storage into the space, be that some sort of shelving unit or even an armoire that would fit perfectly there, because furniture pieces can be a lot more slender than cabinetry can, and they're a lot more affordable. They don't require a ton of renovating to get them into the space to increase that functionality. Now, something I will say is that in my opinion, I don't love that kind of metal wire rack we often see. It has a little bit of an industrial look. It looks kind of like a bakery or a restaurant kitchen. So I would look for something that's an alternative that maybe is not designed to be kitchen storage intentionally, but can really serve a great function. You can also add storage outside of your kitchen in this way. If you find a really great armoire that can serve as a pantry or overflow storage for some of the things you're not using right now or you don't use regularly. I've also seen people take china cabinets like open hutches and turn them into baking cabinets where they keep all of their baking supplies and cookie cutters and sheet pans and all of that. It's a really interesting idea. You can make a coffee bar. There's a trend right now where people are taking vintage television cabinets from like the 90s and the 80s that have the big bulky TVs in them and turning them into coffee bars that are concealed and closed up so they don't have to look at anything. Those are all really great ideas to add storage, add functionality into your kitchen or outside of your kitchen to alleviate some of the stuff in your kitchen, creating more space, therefore more functionality. Let's talk about elevating the space. And by elevating, I mean going up. Take your cabinetry up to the ceiling. Consider adding another row of them if possible. Now, I know we're talking about ideas that'll increase the functionality of your space without renovations, and that's kind of a renovation, it's okay. But also, if your cabinets don't go to the ceiling and don't extend all the way, consider using that shelf space for storage, because that's what it is. The top of those cabinets are just a shelf. I personally don't love that because I'm not cleaning up there. I don't need that level of storage. My kitchen isn't really that teeny tiny, and that's okay, but I personally would get rid of it. But if you do have it and you can't get rid of that and you can't take the cabinetry up, or you just have really high ceilings and it doesn't make any sense to do that, take advantage of that shelf space. Put things on there that you either use really regularly if you can reach it easily, mixing bowls and large items like that, so you're getting them out of your cabinetry, you're adding more storage space, and they're also getting used regularly enough that they're not getting a dust buildup. Or put things that you you don't use regularly that you intend on washing every time you use them. You may also have to be a little bit more active about cleaning and dusting that surface if it's in your kitchen and you're putting cooking utensils on there, but it's a great place to take advantage in a smaller space. I think that also takes us into a place that's really interesting by using cooking utensils as decoration and as decor. Get things that are beautiful, that are really good quality and long lasting, especially if you really love cooking in your kitchen, then you want to have good items. So get some that are really good and hard wearing, but also attractive if they're going to be out on display. There's no reason all of your wooden cooking utensils can't be decor, and there's no reason having beautiful mixing bowls on the counter can't be aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. Be on the lookout for all of those sorts of things, because when you're taking advantage of using all of your cooking supplies as decor, now everything in the space is functional and useful, and you're not cluttering the space with things that are not relevant to what you're using that space for. I know some of these things are a little bit more elevated, or it's like, Garrett, that's not really an upgrade for my small kitchen. We actually did a video all about kitchen updates that don't require renovations, where I talk through some of the basic elements that you could do, including some of the things like adding hardware, backsplashes, and painting, what colors to choose, and even window treatments to incorporate into a kitchen. So be sure you check that out. I'll link it in the description box, and it'll be right up here for you. Let's talk about something I often tell you not to do, but a small kitchen could really benefit from, and that's open shelving. In a kitchen, I don't always recommend open shelves because shelves have to be cleaned and they get dusty. So if all of your stuff is out on display, it can get dusty, and nobody wants to eat off of dusty plates, right? So be sure, if you are in a smaller kitchen and you're really cramped for space, you don't write off open storage, because it actually can have benefits, because you don't have any of the side panels, you don't have the front or the doors taking up space. You're getting more space by not having those cabinets and having open shelves instead, and that can be something really beneficial to your kitchen, especially if you really take the time to source and find beautiful pieces like dishes and mixing bowls and utensils in your kitchen, because having them on display can be really great. So be on the lookout for open shelves in your kitchen, even if it means you put a little bit more work into them. Maybe you're a minimalist and you're like, Garrett, I only have a couple of plates and cups anyway, it'll be fine. I think that's really fantastic. It can also be a way to make a small kitchen feel very open, because you're seeing more of the wall space. You do have more open space, bigger visuals in the space, making it feel a lot bigger. That can be really beneficial also to a smaller kitchen, because a small kitchen can feel quite compact at times, and a lot of times it's like a really small space with a lot of cabinets and that's it. Well, now you don't have that and you can see all of your beautiful things. So be on the lookout for adding open shelves to your small kitchen. You know what I love, and I know you all do too, and you'll sound off in the comment section, is a jewel box kitchen, right? So small spaces in our homes, like a powder room, we like to have a lot of fun in those. We like to paint them vibrant colors and add great wallpaper to them. You can even upgrade and do a really great high-end stone countertop in there, or floors that are beautiful. All of that's really great in a powder room, but why can't it be in a small kitchen? If your kitchen is really that small, make it a jewel box. Have a lot of fun with it. Make it a feature in your home. Sometimes it's those really difficult spaces that once you put your mind to it and you get to work on it, they actually turn out to be the best features in our homes, and a jewel box kitchen can be that. Now, the only thing I will say is be mindful that you're not using like neon colors or something that would just feel very jarring. You do want to take into consideration that a small space can be overwhelming really quickly, but having a jewel box kitchen is fantastic. And the great part about a small kitchen is that it's smaller, so it means you have to buy less things, less cabinets, less stone for it. All of that's really great because it means you can put more budget towards higher quality pieces or elements that are really unique, really fantastic. And that means have a professional out and paint your cabinets an interesting color. Go to the stone yard and look for that really vibrant stone that will really make an impact in the space. You can also have fun with a ceiling detail, paint it a cool color, add wallpaper, or have an interesting finish applied to it. That can make a compact space look so amazing. That can be so much fun in a small kitchen. turn it into a jewel box, make it the best feature of your space, because ultimately kitchens are spaces we use on a daily basis. Even if you don't cook, you probably still know how to make a bowl of cereal, and that's the space you're going to be using. So be on the lookout to make that a space that's really fun, like a jewel box powder bathroom would be. Why can't that be your kitchen? I love that for you. We love a jewel box kitchen, but sometimes you like something more minimal and you're just like, Garrett, I need functionality. Hanging storage is the key, is the moment for your kitchen. And I love that in a space because your walls are essentially empty in a kitchen, right? Like you don't have a ton of stuff going on or you have a big empty place. What are you gonna put there? Like you could put a giant spoon or a sign that says eat. Or you could hang pots and pans there. You could hang cutting boards there. I actually really love a hanging plate rack, like a wooden plate rack with dowels or a gallery rail that holds your plate, freeing up space in your cabinets and then taking advantage of the beautiful things you have and turning them into artwork. That's a fantastic idea. I know one of the things I recommended was taking your cabinets up, right? And a lot of people can't reach those because they can't reach like a 9-foot ceiling. That's normal. But if you have that and you're like, Garrett, I need to take advantage of it, but I can't reach it, like that's a great space, why not get a step stool or a ladder that's really beautiful and hangs on the wall? That can be a piece of artwork and it can take advantage of those upper cabinets and allow you to reach them, but you also don't have to have a ladder hanging around your house. You can have a step stool on the wall and all of a sudden you can reach everything. And there are some really great ones out there. Be on the lookout for all sorts of wall-based storage for your kitchen. Not everything is going to work for you and that's okay, but really look at what in these drawers and these cabinets is taking up all of the space. Maybe you're like, Garrett, I use a ton of spices. I have like 3 spice drawers. You need to get a big spice rack. Okay, and then you'll have 3 drawers that are available, and I love that for you. It's all about figuring out what is taking up the most space and looking at how you can alleviate that. Even if you have a lot of small appliances and you're in a smaller kitchen, well, maybe you can store them somewhere else when you're not using them, and now you just freed up a ton of kitchen space. And maybe you find that after a couple months you don't use them, and then you can get rid of them and you can justify not having them, and that's great. But wall storage is a great and efficient way of taking advantage of a space because, like I said, a lot of kitchens have not a lot of cabinetry, but you will have a big empty wall or a lot of floor space. If you're in a galley kitchen or you just have 1 row of cabinets with a wall behind you, that's an essential place to take advantage of and add storage onto. And it can be totally aesthetic. Get some gorgeous copper pots and give us a vibe. And I love that for you. One of the things I see with small kitchens all of the time is that they can look a little bit messy very quickly. And that's because you don't have a lot of space. So something to keep in mind and focus on is organization. And you want to add as much of that as possible. So be creative with what you're looking at and what you're doing. If you say, gosh, I have a ton of sauces here that need a great place to store them. Well, you can look for a little Lazy Susan type storage unit that will hold them all. And maybe you can even put something like that in your refrigerator if you need that. That will work in anybody's kitchen. I love that. As a matter of fact, let me make a note of that to add to my house. Back to the video, adding organization is essential. Look for these tension drawer organizers and you can really organize a drawer in your kitchen. Look for all sorts of organizers that clip onto the bottom of shelves, that extend the space in your cabinets. All of that's essential to your kitchen not feeling cluttered and for it to be organized so you can actually access all of the things you have. Something else I see in small kitchens when we're like desperately trying to add storage, we're trying to figure it out and get all of our stuff into there, is sometimes these spaces have way too many materials in them and can kind of look mismatched or cluttered or just like it's piecemeal together and not beautiful. Just because your space is small doesn't mean it can't be beautiful and doesn't mean it's not fantastic. And also, let's dispel the notion that having a small space means it's affordable. In some major cities, a smaller space is significantly more expensive than much larger places outside of that. So don't think just because you have a smaller space, it shouldn't be beautiful or it's not worth putting some time and effort into to make better and make more luxurious, because it definitely is. So don't add too many different materials or different finishes for that matter. If you have a lot of really great smooth finishes in the space, whether that's cabinetry, flooring, countertops, be sure you're not adding a ton of rustic finishes that clash with those, or the opposite. You really want to be careful on what you're adding to this space to increase the functionality, but also tone it down a little bit or make it make sense. You don't want to just have a bunch of stuff added and cluttered everywhere, adding to the chaos that can be a small kitchen. Be careful with what you're bringing into this space because you want it to also be functional and beautiful. So be on the lookout for all of those, and your small kitchen will be small but mighty. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to hear from my subscribers. What is one feature you added to your kitchen, be it big or small, that made the world of difference and you think everyone needs to know? Sound off down below. Be sure, if you haven't already, you give this video a like, and if you're not subscribed, please join us here by hitting that subscribe button. I also know that you know someone that has a small kitchen that could use a little bit of help. Share this video with them, because friends help friends, and I will see you in the next one.